Hello everyone and welcome to my monthly vlog. Shorter days and cooler temperatures are upon us, and as I'm sure has been the case for many of you, all of us at the office have found it hard to get going on those dark mornings. This month I thought I'd focus on the state pension. There's been a lot of press about the state pension in the last 12 months for multiple reasons, and I'm going to focus on three of them. The first, the retired amongst you will be very aware of, is the triple lock. The triple lock refers to the way in which the state pension is set up to rise in line with the highest of these three measures every year. The measures are a flat rate 2.5 raise, average earnings growth and inflation. And we know that as a silver lining from the significant rise in inflation we've been living with for the last 18 months to 2 years is that the state pension rose by 10.1% this tax year, and based on current figures, this will rise again next tax year by 8.5%. While this is a positive, it might be worth keeping in mind whether you will now become a taxpayer when maybe you previously hadn't been, or if this increase has pushed you into the higher rate tax bracket. The personal allowance, the amount that you can earn tax-free each year from income tax, and the higher rate tax thresholds have been frozen until 2028. This now means that many will now be earning more and therefore paying more tax. If you have other taxable income, and this brings you over the personal allowance of $12,570, you'll pay basic rate tax on anything above this amount. If you are a basic rate taxpayer and this increase of the state pension brings your total annual earnings to over $50,270, you will have to pay higher rate tax on anything above this. The state pension is not taxed at source, which means that you will receive the total amount without any tax deductions. If the increase will now take you above those thresholds and you don't have any other pensions paid via the PAYE system, you might need to complete a self-assessment return and submit it to HMRC to determine your tax liability. So we therefore recommend that you keep a record of your state pension income for the year, as you won't receive a P60 from the government. You can talk to us if you're concerned about the tax position, and we will be able to help you, of course. The second thing I'd like to focus on is the change to state pension top-ups. So you will need at least 10 qualifying years of NICs in your national insurance record to receive any state pension at all. And to get a full state pension, you need 35 years. The full rate of state pension is now worth £203.85 per week. And for most people, it therefore forms a very useful base for retirement income. However, many people do not get this full state pension when they reach retirement, as they're not aware of the gaps that they have in those NICs. In 2020, only about 45% of people were getting the maximum new state pension. A full national insurance year usually costs £824 and adds up to £302.64 each year to your pre-tax state pension, which of course will rise with inflation. Get this maximum gain, and it's worth it as long as you live at least 3 years after getting your pension. Normally you can buy back up to 6 years, but when the new state pension was introduced, transitional arrangements were put in place so that you can plug gaps for longer, all the way back to 2006. This was due to end in April this year and then July this year, but because of so many people trying and the government cannot cope, it's been extended to April 2025. First port of call is to get a state pension forecast if you're concerned from gov.uk, and then give us a call and we can discuss the options with you. The third issue is around the state pension and many women being underpaid. Since 1978-79 financial year, the government has had a system in place to protect the state pension of those who aren't earning enough through work, mainly mothers, because they've instead chosen to take time off work to look after their children or care for someone else with a long-term medical condition. However, this protection wasn't implemented properly, apparently, for hundreds of thousands of people. This means that many women who took time off to raise children have had their state pension underpaid. This will, of course, apply to some men as well, but the majority of underpayments, they believe, are for women. The government is prioritising those over 80 and who have been widowed, And if a payment is owed, this will be automatically calculated and you won't need to do anything. However, there are some other groups for whom it won't be automatic and checking if you're owed money, and you might need to make a claim. They are those who took time off between 1978 and 2010 and claimed child benefit or income support for caring for a person with a disability or long-term illness. If you're a woman whose husband turned 65 before the 17th of March 2008 and you're being paid less than 60% of his basic state pension. You're a woman who got divorced after reaching state pension age and you haven't had your pension reassessed. Or you're a married woman on a 0 basic state pension, but might be getting a small amount of additional state pension, also known as SERPs or graduated retirement benefit. This is really very complicated and personalised to every individual, so I would recommend some additional reading. You could look at the Martin Lewis Money Saving Expert website about this, which I'll make sure we put a link in the blog and the vlog so that you can check this out. And it's really important that you check if you think you fall into one of those categories that I've mentioned. The guidance for now is that if you fall into category 1, which is where you took time off work between 1978 and 2010 and claimed child benefit or income support, then you'll be automatically reassessed and receive a letter from HMRC sometime in the next few months if you're owed anything. I think that's probably the majority of people are going to fall into that category. If you fall into one of the other categories that I've mentioned, you will need to actively contact the pension service to see if you've been underpaid and if you're owed any money. So as always, any questions or queries on this topic, then please let me know. Take care. See you next month, no doubt, for some pre-Christmas fun. Whilst I guess the ending of this would be check out moneysavingexpert.co.uk. It's got some great information on there about this reassessment if you would be owed anything from the state pension. So in the meantime, let me know if you've got any queries and see you soon.